Hey, it's Jacob. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to auto-populate Excel and the 3 vital things you need to know. After watching this video, you'll have a 3-step action plan to get started as a total beginner. I'm going to talk about the following things: doing data entry tasks in Excel, and I'm going to define what data entry is. I'm going to talk about whether you should learn VBA or not, how long it takes to learn to auto-populate Excel, and I'm going to talk about the difference between making Excel do things automatically and understanding how Excel works. And make sure to watch till the end if you don't want to miss out on a 3-step action plan to learn to quickly auto-populate Excel when you're a total beginner. So let's dive in right now. Here's one of the problems that you might have. You might have to constantly update data into Excel charts and graphs, and that might make you feel like it takes away valuable time that you could use to get more important things done. Or maybe you have to add a lot of data into spreadsheets, and it's frustrating to do it one by one. It feels like there is too much data to collect, enter, and manage, and it feels tedious and repetitive. So what's the solution? Well, first, I'm going to define what data entry is in the context of this video, just to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. So data entry is any task that involves data in an Excel file. So it's a very, very large definition. For example, populating spreadsheets, charts and graphs, updating information, filling out sheets, inventory counting, and inputting data. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'll also include everything that involves analyzing, like auto calculation, counting, and adjusting. Now, just so we are clear, what kind of data are we talking about? So I'm just going to give you examples here just so you have an idea. So it can be time allocation, product quantity, product details for an e-commerce store, receipts from bills, number of sales, pricing sheets, or website databases. So the first thing you need to know is, maybe you think I don't know VBA, so I can't do that. Well, you don't need to know VBA to be able to do that. Now, if you don't know what VBA is, it's the programming language that is pre-installed in Excel, meaning that it's already installed when you have Excel. Now, when we are talking about making Excel do things automatically, most people talk about VBA. The main reasons for that are availability and compatibility, because you don't have to install anything when you are using VBA. It's directly installed in Excel. So VBA is great because you don't have to install anything. And if you are using somebody else's computer, then you will be able to use VBA provided that Excel is already installed on that computer. So now, why am I saying that you don't need it? Well, because you can use a lot of other programming languages. For example, you can use Python, C#, MATLAB, C, C++, and so on and so forth. Now, why would you want to install another programming language when you already have one specifically for that software? Now, the answer is counterintuitive, but it makes sense. When you're a beginner, what you want is to have something that is easy to use, not easy to install. VBA is easy to install because you don't have to install it. However, it's not necessarily the most user-friendly at all. Let me give you 2 reasons why it's not necessarily the best option. Reason number 1, you'll have to deal with object-oriented programming right away, which is not the most intuitive way of programming, to say the least. So it could be very overwhelming as a beginner. Reason number 2, it doesn't interact well with other tools. For example, if you need to extract content from a PDF or a website database, then it won't be easy with VBA. So here is what to do instead. You should do your own research based on your needs to find the best programming language that does the job. So this is what I recommend. However, if you don't want to do that because you don't have the time to do your own research, just know that Python doesn't have the problems I talked about earlier. There are a lot of other options, but that's the one I would use if I had to make Excel automatically do data entry. Now let's move on to the second thing. It's going to take a long time. What you need to know is that it's not true. Now let's clear things up. Coding takes a long time to learn, yes. If you want to become a developer, programmer, or software engineer, data entry is very specific. In programming terms, it's a small portion of what's called scripting, which is itself a small portion of programming. Now, if that doesn't take a long time, then why do people think it does? There must have been a lot of people who already tried, and you might also know some of them, and they told you it takes a long time. So here is the thing. Most courses and tutorials are general and don't deal with a specific part of programming. And automatic data entry is a specific part of programming. Well, let me tell you that if you want to learn to do just that, then you can auto-populate a spreadsheet, for example, with just a few lines of code. So if you think it's going to take time, here's what to do instead. Ask yourself, what's the one thing that I'd like to start with? Or what's the one thing that if I knew how to do, then I'd feel like I can do the rest? For example, you could start with filling out one data into a pricing sheet, populating a spreadsheet with a single word in a single cell, or updating the date in a cell of an Excel file. You can then focus on that one thing before moving on to the next step. And now let's move on to the third thing you need to know, which is I need to be good at using Excel. You need to know that it's not true either. So let me explain. Excel user experience can be overwhelming with all the features and hidden options. It makes us feel like if we don't know about all of those things, there is no way we'll be able to make Excel do things automatically, because it's way harder, right? Well, the truth is, there are tons of things I don't know about Excel, but I know that if you show me how to do them, then I know how to do them automatically. So here's the point I'm trying to make. Making Excel do things automatically and understanding how Excel works are two different things. In fact, there are things you could know how to do automatically, but would struggle to do by hand. Now, how is that possible? Let me give you an example. If you want to use a hidden option that is difficult to find because of the interface, finding the option might be a lot more difficult to do than copying and pasting a single line of code. So instead of thinking, I need to be good at using Excel, you might want to start thinking about learning to use Excel automatically. Because it's not more difficult than learning to use Excel by hand, but it's 10 times more efficient down the line. Now let's move on to the 3-step action plan if you want to start doing that today. Step 1 is choose the appropriate programming language. And again, based on your needs, it may vary. For example, if you need to read an encrypted PDF, that might be difficult to do with VBA. Step number 2, start with something small. Start with the smallest action you can think of, and if you want examples of that, you can refer to earlier in this video. Step 3, build momentum. Keep building on what you did to do something that is actually useful. Keep in mind that with step 2, it's going to be the smallest action you can think of. It's not going to be the most useful one. Now is the time to make it useful. Now, if you're interested and want to learn more, you can click on the link in the description. You'll get a free online course. Have a great day and see you in the next video.